Hey guys, it's Bro You Whack, and being that Overwatch 2 is now free to play, that means that there's a whole bunch of brand new players playing this game for the very first time, and that also includes console players, something that a lot of people forget makes up a huge portion of the Overwatch community. Now with that being said, there's not a lot of videos online catered to the console community on how to get better at this game, which is why I want to make a video talking about some of the best settings that you can play with specific heroes that can help you get better at the game. See, the biggest problem that you have when playing with a controller versus a keyboard and mouse is that you're limited with the amount of buttons and options that you have at your disposal on your piece of hardware. So today what I'm going to help you console players do is remap your buttons for 3 specific heroes: Soldier 76, Roadhog, and Lucio, because I feel like these are good examples and stepping stones into the button mapping world. And if you want me to do more of these types of videos, let me know in the comments down below what hero you want me to look at next. So first, I need to explain why we're even remapping buttons to begin with. And truth be told, it all depends on how you hold the controller. So how I hold it and how I feel like a majority of people hold it is that they have their index fingers on the left and right trigger and their thumbs on, well, the thumbsticks. Some people, I'm sure, hold it like this, where their middle fingers are on the triggers and the index fingers are on the left and right bumper. And some people even play claw, where they have access to their face buttons with their right index finger. And I'm sure some people even play like this, and I'm sure somebody out there plays it upside down. Now how I hold the controller and how I feel like most people hold the controller is that they have their index fingers on the triggers and thumbs on the thumbsticks. That means I only have 4 buttons with the fastest reaction time possible. And yes, it doesn't take much time to switch between these 2 buttons, but in a game like Overwatch where it's very fast paced, if you can have a faster reaction time or just faster actions per minute, you're gonna be way ahead of the curve than somebody that is switching between buttons constantly. For Soldier 76, this is a perfect example of somebody that truly suffers from the default button layout that's not utilizing even just one single button, and that is the left thumbstick. So to change this, you're going to press the start button, which, by the way, this could easily translate to the PlayStation and Switch controller because it's the same exact layout, but on the PlayStation, the D-pad and the left thumbstick is just swapped. So you're going to go to settings, you're going to go to Soldier 76, and this is what your default button layout should look like. This is cringe. You want to change this. The first thing, and really the only thing, is you're going to change his ability 1 button, which is his run button, from LB to the left thumbstick. This is exactly how Call of Duty does it, and is the reason why I changed it, because he's the Call of Duty guy. But that means that his interact button is now unmapped. That's something that you use Symmetra's teleporter for. So you're going to change that to the right of the D-pad, because he doesn't have a secondary weapon. You are not utilizing this button for anything, but you're utilizing a button that you're always going to be touching for the interact button. That makes 0 sense. And what this is going to allow you to do is have access to both of your buttons at a single given time, so that you can have a lot faster reaction time rather than having to utilize one single finger swapping between the left trigger and the left bumper. While this is a very small change that only save you literally milliseconds, this is a fast-paced game that you need those milliseconds to be able to react to. Now the next hero up is Roadhog, and this is a similar situation as Soldier 76, where you're going to be constantly swapping between these 2 buttons, but especially the left bumper, because this of course is your hook ability. How did I miss that? Get over here. So you're going to be constantly swapping between your secondary fire and your left hook, but especially when it comes to the hook, more so than Soldier 76, you need to have a lot faster reaction time, because people are constantly going to be changing positions. I know when it comes to these bots that are staying in a single position for me and it makes it look easy, but saving those seconds between your secondary fire and your hook is extremely important. So here's what you're going to change. You're going to go to Roadhog settings, and you're going to change his ability 1, which is his hook ability, from the left bumper to the left trigger. Now that obviously unbinds the secondary fire, and it's very important that you map it this specific way if you want to. You don't got to, but I changed his secondary fire from the left trigger to the right bumper. But then that unbinds his heal ability, so you're going to change that to the left bumper then. But another thing that you can also do when it comes to Roadhog is unbind his toggle crouch from B to the left thumbstick button, because this isn't being utilized once again for anything important besides Symmetra's teleporter. So you can change the interact button, which is what you go through Symmetra's teleporter with the right of the D-pad, because he doesn't have an extra weapon. Now, why you change it in that specific order is because, once again, how I hold the controller is I have my index finger on the left trigger, and I want my hook at all times at any given second, because that's so crucial for Roadhog's gameplay. But the other reason is that if you have a secondary fire on the left trigger, you have access to both of the fires at any given time, but you can only fire one at a time. So that's why I'm willing to switch between these 2 fires fires because I'm really not losing any time when Roadhog is cocking his gun back versus having to switch between the hook and his secondary fire for the default button layout. I am losing time. Now, when it comes to the crouch, I mean, it just helps to have the crouch here, I guess. You're not really going to be dodging and weaving through people as Roadhog because he's such a big chunky boy, but it helps to have rather than having to crouch and switch between the right thumbstick and the B button. Just have it right here and you can dodge and weave and hook instantaneously. So there's a lot of changes for Lucio's controller layout, but I think it really helps to show you how you're playing Lucio in game because I don't think you really understand how much you're swapping between the right thumbstick and the A button when you don't have to do that. To make it easy for you, all you gotta do is go to the Lucio settings, and I know this is gonna be a weird change because we're so used to having the A button be the jump button ever since Mario first launched in 1985, but you can change the jump from the A button to the left trigger. Now there's gonna be a ripple effect of all these unbounded abilities, specifically a secondary fire. You're gonna change that from the left trigger, which is now his jump button, to the right bumper. Similar like Roadhog, you have two forms of fire, the main like 4 bullets, and then his boop ability. And you don't really need instant access to the boop ability, in my opinion, but moving on to the other abilities, now you have his amp it up ability, unbounded. You're gonna change this to the left bumper because you don't need instant access to the amp it up ability. But what you do need instant access to is his crossfade ability to just quickly switch between songs. You're gonna change that to the left thumbstick. Now that's gonna unbound the interact button. Since he doesn't have a secondary gun, you're gonna change that to the right of the D-pad. And the other setting that doesn't have to do with buttons is the wall backwards roll ride. This is off by default. I have no idea why. This just goes to show how, pun intended, scuffed the default button layout is on console, but you're gonna change that to on because, well, you wanna allow yourself to backwards roll ride. So this button layout helps on 2 fronts. First and foremost, helps you not get a cramp between swapping between the A button and the right thumbstick because it's just so much easier to wall ride and jump with Lucio having it be on the left trigger because it's just so much smoother, and of course because you have instant access to it because you hold it with your left index finger. But the other thing that it also helps with is being able to have instant access to your crossfade because when it comes to Lucio, you're constantly going to be changing between songs like this, especially if you're being a Reddit Lucio trying to go for boops. Now with that being said, you do lose instant access to your boop ability, but I'm willing to swap between the primary fire and the boop ability and lose a couple of seconds for the ability to swap between songs and being able to just to jump a whole lot easier and a whole lot smoother. This is going to help you not get a cramp in your hands and also be the Reddit Lucio that you always want to be, getting those sweet, sweet boop environmental kills. And again, with that last setting, you're going to be able to wall ride this way, but you're also going to be able to wall ride backwards. Again, I don't know why this is off by default, but just change it to on because you want to be able to do this, not only because, well, it's better for Lucio, but because it's freaking cool. Now, those were just 3 hero changes that I want to show you for the sake of time, because if I went through every single hero, this would legit be an hour-long video. So if you want me to look at other specific heroes that I've done, because I've done this for D.Va, for Mercy, I'm pretty sure I've done this for Torbjorn, then I can make a separate video looking at other heroes that can utilize a better button map layout. But until then, I love you guys. Thank you guys for watching. More Overwatch 2 videos to come, and bye.